One of the worst things that someone can do after a fat loss phase is not have a plan. And because of that, it's going to lead them down a road where they're going to end up gaining all the weight they lost and then some right back. And a lot of times this happens because they go back to their old eating habits that they had prior to their fat loss. So how do you still keep the weight off, but still be able to enjoy food and get in a healthy spot? You have to transition into a reverse diet. So today, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to properly transition from a fat loss into a reverse diet. So all of this hard work that you put into your fat loss doesn't go to the wayside. So let's go ahead and let's take a look back here on the board. So what I have right here is I have calories and metabolism and time. When we start off on a fat loss, we typically start off on higher calories. You should start off on higher calories. This person started off on 2,000 calories. But with time, what happens is their metabolism starts down regulating. And because of that, calories are going to drop to help with compensation of the metabolism dropping. So even though this person started off on 2,000 calories within their diet, they're ending their fat loss on 1,100 calories because with time, metabolism drops, therefore calories are going to have to drop. Now, the main reason for this is because of metabolic adaptations that we all experience when we go into a calorie deficit. So what happens is our thyroid functions, they'll downregulate, causing the metabolism to also downregulate. Hormones will downregulate or bottom out, or they'll even be a little bit imbalanced depending on the individual. Cortisol is going to be very high. The hormone leptin is going to be decreased. So your satiety is also going to be decreased. Ghrelin is going to be high, which is going to cause your hunger to also be higher. And usually leptin and ghrelin, which both of them being off, are the two main reasons why people get themselves into trouble once they're done with their fat loss protocol. Because they'll go in, they'll eat food, they're still hungry, they're never satisfied. So they'll go ahead and they'll be consuming a large amount of calories. And because the thyroid is downregulated, therefore the metabolism is as well, the thyroid or metabolism cannot keep up with all of this food that this individual is consuming. So therefore, there's going to be fat gain. But how do you combat this? Post-dieting plan of attack. So the goal after you're done dieting, you should always have a plan in place where you're going to metabolically recover. That should always be the goal after coming off of a calorie deficit. So if you take a look down here, here is how this would look. So we have calories, we have time. So this individual finished their fat loss off at 1,100 calories. Then they decided to put themselves in maintenance and just hold in maintenance. If you don't know where your maintenance is, what I would recommend you do is just increase calories by 400 to 500 calories and just hold there. So they increased their calories to 1,500 calories and they were just holding there to go ahead and get the recovery process started before starting to increase their calories, because they wanted to make sure that recovery to all of the things that may have downregulated or metabolically adapted are starting to recover. And then once they got to a point where they're like, I feel like I'm starting to recover a little bit, I'm not really as hungry anymore, or my satiety is normal again, then start bringing calories back up over time. And as you'll see, their calories are on the rise. So they got to a point where they were consuming 1950 calories. Now, this isn't to say this is where this individual is going to stop with their reverse, because the goal to a reverse is to bring up all of the metabolic adaptations that has occurred and also aid to the metabolism. So if your metabolism or your ceiling can go higher than 1950 calories, the goal should always be to push beyond that, because the higher the calories, the better your metabolism is going to become. Now, how do you go into a reverse coming off of a fat loss? So I already briefly touched upon that, but let's revisit that here really quick. So first things first, go into maintenance. So go into maintenance calories, or you can even set your maintenance calories 5 pounds above what your actual maintenance is in order to put on a little bit of weight, because that's what's going to help with the metabolic adaptations that occurred. More specifically with leptin, and also too with balancing out hormones. And you want to stay there, and it's going to start that recovery process. Now with time, when you feel like you're in a good place and you're ready to push calories a little bit further, start increasing calories by increasing carbs and fats specifically. And you want to go off of your biofeedback with this. So, so your measurements, your weight, progress pictures, things like that. How are you feeling? How's your hunger levels? And those are really going to be the cues that you need to increase your calories, which should only be coming from carbs and fats, because protein should always remain constant during this time. So the goal, the overall goal for reverse dieting is to get your calories as high as you possibly can and hold it there. Allow your body to adapt to that, because what that's going to cause is that's going to cause your metabolism to adapt to those calories and get even higher, which is also promoting better thyroid health. So don't be that individual where you get your calories high and then boom, you instantly jump into a fat loss. You don't want to do that. You want to hold there for a couple of months or as long as you can before jumping into that fat loss. Now, I know the biggest concern is for people, especially women out there, is, am I going to gain weight? I'm increasing calories, so I'm probably going to gain weight. So the answer is yes, you are going to gain weight, but it shouldn't be a process where you're gaining all this weight right up front. The goal to a reverse diet and while you're increasing calories is going to be 1 pound gain per month, which equals 0.25 pounds gain per week. So that's nothing at all. So it's a slow process, because in that way you figure if you worked on reverse dieting and building your calories up, let's say over the course of a year, so that's 12 months. So then that means you put on 12 pounds over the course of 12 months. So it's not going to be one of these things where you're jumping from 0 to 100. So you're still going to be able to maintain a better body composition. And there is a really high chance, if your training is on point, that you could be putting on muscle mass as well during this time, because your calories are going to be going up. So you're going to have the fuel to push harder within the gym, to increase strength, to also put on muscle mass. And that should always be the goal. So that is how you do a reverse diet, and that's how you transition from a fat loss into a reverse. So just remember, the most important takeaway is once you're done with the fat loss, you don't want all of that progress that you worked very hard for to go to shit. You need to have a plan of attack, and that plan of attack should be a reverse diet.